Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everybody. I'm Preacher Moss, host of the SOS, the Shout Out Show. Hope that you're having a fabulous Wednesday. We have an incredible show for you lined up. Our guest today, I'm going to tell you right up front, we probably don't have enough time. I know we're scheduled to go from 6 to 7. However, this gentleman, in terms of the music business, he would, if he was a musician, we'd say we'd be talking about his catalog, if you will. And when I say catalog, this is someone I've known for quite a long time. When I was living in Long Beach, funny story how we got together, and we'll probably talk about that. But I want to talk about the evolution of somebody who has an understanding of design for business strategy, advising, but also being able to keep it fluid enough whereby it's inclusive of so many things that have come down the road, also things that are coming down, also things that have, I want to say, trended, but he's also been in a space where he's helped the trend. We are blessed to have him on the show. I'm talking about my good brother, Sakiya Sandifer. We're going to be coming back to him after we start the show. A couple notes I want to make. I want to give a shout out to Miss Eleanor, who is recovering from her surgery. We hope, inshallah, that you're doing well. Dua's out. Also, I want to give a shout out to some people that had some really good victories this week. I want to give a shout out to my good friend, Brother Marshawn. Brother Marshawn, I had a good time with you in Philadelphia. Shout out to the whole Philadelphia Riyadh, the Muslim Riyadh in Philadelphia this weekend. Omar Regan, as well as Nadir Pierre, Moses the Comic. We had an incredible Ibrahim Jabber. We had an incredible weekend up there, and it is interesting because this kind of leads into what we're talking with our guests today. A lot of times we talk about creativity. We've been talking about this creative space, process, and all these type of things. We haven't really gotten to the concept development. That's something we're going to talk about today. But I want to say, through the years, there's a certain level of consistency that people have with creativity, but also being able to be creative and increase the level of efficacy in terms of how ideas get out, how they're translated, and ultimately how they're executed. So we're going to get into that here on the show, here on the Shout Out Show. We appreciate everybody for tuning in. As you know, special note, September the 1st, we will be at ISNA, Islamic Society of North America, and we will be doing the comedy show. But this is a different comedy show because it has a different theme. This being my 20th year working with Muslim communities doing comedy. This year is interesting because I'm returning to my roots. I am getting back to food, I like to say boots on the ground in the context of being able to be my people. And we're going to take this show, make it a community service show. And we will be Muslim comedians standing against gun violence in the city of Chicago. I want to give a shout out to experts and people on O Block and Southside Chicago. We're going to be doing some different things in the context of reaching out and making ourselves available to people. I don't want to say distressed neighborhoods or depressed neighborhoods. These are people who are in need of love and hugs, and we're going to give it to them. So we'll be talking about that as we move closer to the day. We'll be right back. Don't you move. This is Preacher Monster Shout Out Show. Spending our time here with my main man, Sakiya Sandifer. All right, sorry about that. Got that on loop. Hey, so nice we had to hit it twice. So let me explain to you guys how this is going to work. In case you haven't been in what we call a creative cipher, people that throw around ideas, people who are, I want to say, kind of visionary in the way they look at something, but very plain spoken how they talk to people. You need to kind of brace yourself. In the world of design, in the world of business strategy, this has been one of my go-to friends. We bounce things off of one another. We actually going to do an idea called the Kings of Sarcasm. We didn't get to that, but Even with the Kings of Sarcasm, it did come with a genius line of understanding how we talk to people and cutting through what we call, in my business, communication red tape, getting to the idea and nurturing what is the genius in what we say and what we do. This guy has been doing it for years. Now, let me tell you guys how this works. He has created companies. He's created brand and platforms for a lot of great, well-known artists. But what I've enjoyed is that the idea of what he has, and this is going back to, I want to say, the '90s. Um, he's found a way to make this thing relevant. Now, let me tell you, this is not for people at home to try on their own. This is something that I say is organic, and there's a genius level to it. And I don't throw around genius level. I'm not saying everybody's, oh, we're not. No, people have their own level to genius. He's found his, and he's been able to float fluidly in Hollywood, in business, from New York to California. He's been that guy. So I'm not going to take up too much more time introducing him, but I'm going to ask everybody for the process, if you will, to really enjoy this interview, to kind of step back and a lot of preconceived notions that you have about business strategy or the creative process or design process. I'm going to leave them alone. Let them sit to the side, and when this thing is over, you can pick them up. And hopefully, when you pick them up, you have a better product. How about that? So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome to the show my brother and yours, Sakiya Sandifer. Hey, hey, Assalamu alaikum, Sakiya.
But there's no applause. There's no like your audience. Come on, man. Give me some of that energy, bro.
I know. Well, I got the energy for everybody, man. How you doing, my brother?
I am better than I've been, but not as good as I'm going to get.
There you go. Where are you reporting from? Are you in California? You
I
travel
am.
a lot.
No, I am here in Los Angeles.
Okay.
That's where I'm based at. So that's where I'm at.
Well, make sure we give greetings and salutations to your lovely wife,
Yes.
and let her know we say hello.
Okay. All right.
So let's get to it because I know this time is going to it's going to go rapidly. Tell us where you from, Chicago. When you have this grand idea in Chicago that um, in terms of design creativity, that not that I'm in a different level, but I'm in a different pathway in terms of how I'm going to express myself. When does that hit you in Chicago?
That was back in '95, and it actually came out of uh, not a need to design, just a need to create a livelihood because I wanted to be the primary caregiver for my daughter, my first daughter. I
Hmm.
figured I was trying at the time. I thought I wanted to be a party promoter, but my first event only had like 13 people show up, so I was like late for that. And then I said, "Hey, I'll just make everybody's flyer. That's guaranteed money." And then I actually just tapped into a passion that it was dormant in me. Like I was more like relying on my confidence that I can do anything that I put my mind to.
Hmm.
And oh wait, I'm sorry, I just got thrown. I'm only seeing myself. I don't see you. So
It's okay. We're giving you the spotlight.
oh, okay. I was like, wait, I'm kind of thrown off. But yeah, so I kind of stumbled into it, but it's like the story of Quincy Jones saying that he had broke into a school and it was a piano there, and he hit that piano key, and then
Yes.
after he knew that's what he wanted to do for the rest of his life. That's how it was with me. I kind of stumbled into graphic design, and I never looked back since then. It was like the 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 amount of dopamine that hits me solving an ecstatic problem
Hmm.
is 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 everything to me. It's like it's just everything. So I kind of stumbled into it.
Sure. So we all stumble into things. Now, how did you wind up staying in
Oh, I started making money. People started paying me. People started paying me. It was question. I was like, what? I could get paid for these ideas that I just thought was just the fleeting ideas, and what makes something what it is what you compared it to. So my shit looked better than their stuff. So it was just like I could go out to almost any room and and bring added value by just improving it, and I can do it from a fundamental aesthetic way first. That's just me breathing, because my spectrum mind needs things to line up.
Mm-hmm.
I it's that's truly a gift, but if I'm not disciplined in it, it's a curse.
Yes.
But that's just me. But then ideas itself, because a design is nothing more than an aesthetic solution. So it's just a line to me that needs to. So it's the same thing in communication, like syntax of words and stuff. It's like it's a design. It's just designing to me. So, but
So
yeah,
some people should know, Sakiya was the first designer of the Allah Made Me Funny logo.
yes, and even I was the better designer of the inner racism.
Okay, so let's start there. Um,
Yes.
I'm going to tell this story, and you can feel free to laugh. You don't even have to jump in. I was doing a college tour, and I come up with this great concept called Into Racism Comedy Lecture Tour. However, back then money was a little thin, and I got in my mind that I could design the logo using my computer, just going on Google. Totally,
You wasn't even Google at that time, bro.
Windows. I'm sorry,
You
Windows.
did it in Microsoft.
I did it. Was it
Microsoft
Microsoft
Word.
Windows?
Yeah,
Word.
Word. Yeah,
They
Microsoft
have
Word.
Windows then. So
Yeah.
Microsoft Word. So
Yeah.
long story short, I probably spent about 3 hours trying to come up with a circle and a line to go through the word racism. And and I look back, I can be honest, it looked hideous. But when you don't have money, hideous looks good. So my friend, my good friend, my brother, Owen Smith was like, you should talk to Sakiya about design. I'm like, no, I got it. When I spoke to Sakiya and he saw the design, I think the first thing you said was laughter.
Yeah. I definitely laughed.
And I think you laughed pretty much the whole time.
Yeah. I remember you said, "Hey, I'm not a graphic designer," and I was like, "Yeah, I can tell."
Well, we checked that box. But here was the thing, though. The rest of the people know. While I lacked energy and talent in the graphic design thing, Sakiya did understand that I had a concept.
Oh, absolutely.
So he was like, "What's the concept?" He's like, "All right, cool. What's the design?" He was like, "Oh my gosh!" And what happens is we have this synergy in terms of I can I can tell you the concept, but I've learned, and I have to do this with uh, Sister Satana. I got to step away from the graphic thing.
Yeah.
I know I'm going to support group for Canva, but I need to step back. But it was funny because once we got that design, and it was red and it was black and it was laid out, it was a cold design. It lasted for years, and I don't think you know, till you kind of step back from graphic design, we put out Allah Made Me Funny. We put out a rebrand of into racism. We put out a rebrand of Allah Made Me Funny. All the iterations were done by Sakiya.
And to this day, and I've been doing this going on 28 years now, graphic design. The "La Made Me Funny" logo was my biggest creative challenge.
Yeah, yeah.
No one, like, for you to put those two ideas together. Like, because I remember when you called me, you was on the road. That's when you used to drive cross country.
If you had no money,
Yeah, yeah. And then you were like, "Yo, Sakiya, I got this concept. I came with this concept for a new tour." And then you was like, "Yo, Allah made me funny." And I just bust up the laugh because I thought you was being funny. I really thought it was just like you was calling like joking. And you was like, nah, it's gonna be La Made Me Funny, and I need a logo. And that's the first
I
time.
remember that. I remember that silence for a minute.
And that was the first time that I didn't run to the computer. I took a couple of days to try to figure out how do I merge these ideas in the most effective, non-offensive way.
Yes.
And to this day, you know, all the logos that I've done or graphic designs and stuff like that, that to this day has been the one that I had to expand my creative muscle the most. Allow me to be funny.
Yeah, I mean, it was
Color wise, shape, like everything, you know. So yeah, thank you for that.
I thought it was, I thought people should know that because it gives us a little bit of a foundational understanding of we're friends. We've been friends for a long time, but in this space of concept development and creativity, and in your case, design, we've had these very very good creative engagements in terms of turnout projects. Like
Right.
we call each other up and we go, "What are you working on?" Which is the best feeling in the world. What are you working on? What are you working on? And I'm always interested and engaged in what you're doing, and likewise. And I think the thing is, a lot of times when we talk on the show, we don't get enough time to talk about process. So I want to talk a little bit about process. Um, just so people know, Sakai's been the author of at least 3 books,
Well, that's true, but it's been four, so we're both
but
correct.
the little one was small. Okay,
It's okay. A book,
okay,
a
so
book.
it's
That
4.
was like that book was a breakthrough. That small book took me around the world.
The last one,
No, the first one, the
think,
small
think,
one.
think, and think again was a classic.
Yes, and then a book of questions with one answer. That that again, that was just a concept. I wanted to write a book that had 50 random questions.
Hmm.
I had one answer to sum up all of those questions, and it was just like a book of questions with one answer.
How did that book go? How did you present it?
What do you mean? How did I present it?
Like you come up with the concept. When you get out of your creative box and you go, now I have to go present this to the masses.
Well,
What are you telling them about this book?
well, the first one, uh, wow, it's interesting. I'm talking to you. You're the only person that's gonna be able to understand it. I wrote the first book. That was more of my entrepreneurial mind, saying I need to sell something on the back table because it was you that told me that I should be in front of people talking. So
Yeah.
I was like, okay. And you was like, yo, I can get you some dates. And I was like, all right. Well, again, I had no desire to write a book until that moment. And that was the Think Again book. So that was a part of just my speaking series. And then with that led into me. That book was used as a base of a curriculum for the DOJ for this concept that I had that was called Business Minds Thinking,
Yes.
and that was used as a after school program. And then in the interim with that led into me showing the concept to the artist formerly known as Kanye, but Ye now. And I co-wrote a book with him, Thanking You're Welcome. And then that went on the Glow in the Dark tour. So that just broadened my awareness in the marketplace. That then led me to ghostwrite the book for Lil Wayne.
I remember that one.
Then that allowed me to co-write another book with History's Greatest Leaders in You. There's more in common than you think. And then I wrote my follow-up, a book of questions, one answer. But at that time, I had my blog, the Think Movement, up and running. I had my own core following in that. So it was just an easy, hey, I have this book, support these ideas. And that was over 10 years ago. Shit, I think that was like 2008, 2009 when I wrote my last one. And I still have people to this day sending me pictures of how they still have those books on their mantelpiece and how they
Mhm.
use it, how they apply it. So, yeah, that's how I was able to do that.
Well, let me ask you a question because I wanna jump back to this um, business minds thinking, the think movement. This
Yeah,
is
and then thinking like an entrepreneur changed my life
I
too.
remember that because we worked on that together.
Yeah, yeah, thinking like an entrepreneur changed my life.
Okay, so I think the thing about and I loved what I loved about thinking like an entrepreneur changed my life is it did remove a lot of barriers in the concept of people wanting to work and express themselves in a business manner or a creative manner. It kind of took the rails off of it. It made it like, listen, these are the things you don't have to worry about. And so when you started talking to people, it's like you I want to say they felt less inhibited and they felt closer to their ideas. Was that a purpose? Was that one of the goals of what you were doing with
Well,
something
I
like?
mean, my goal was just to be a spark for those wanting, a spark for those who have an entrepreneurial spirit in them, regardless if it's dormant or not.
Right, right.
Uh,
Speak on that.
yeah, it's like uh, that's all. That's all I was doing, was just sparking them. I would tell them that I don't have all the answers. I have the right questions to help you get to your answer. And even to this day, I do things to uh, create content for me to speak about it in front of people because I personally hate somebody giving me advice that's just based on theory. Um,
Mm.
I like I like it to be a I like it to be based on something practical, something that person did. There's it's what's that quote from Mike Tyson? Everybody got a plan until they get hit.
Yeah.
I want to talk to the people who got hit. You know, that's
But
who I.
I think it's interesting. You were doing an interview for Thank You and You're Welcome. We'll get to that in a minute. But before you got to the interview, it was a masterful one because you kind of like, let me tell you about what I'm doing before we get to this book, which I thought was pretty cool. You talked about this and we've talked about this, but for the audience, man, can you just talk about this whole thing? Because I see it happening now. You were talking about it years ago. Just this whole phenomenon of people who have power and they give it away.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite passages in the Think book. Like power, why do most of us uh, give it away and condemn those who don't? It's 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 simply put, the powers that be know they only have to do one thing: it's just convince somebody else that they don't have power. I mean, that's
Mhm.
all. That's all that's needed for somebody to be empowered. That's why one of my uh, ideas that I reject very unapologetically is the concept of being humble. That it's just like, who benefits from your humble moment? It's like, if anybody, everybody that's listening and will listen, if you look up that word in your standard Webster dictionary, it's a very negative word, and I don't know why you would want to wear that idea. Um, yeah, I don't know why somebody would want to wear that idea, but power is uh, is what we all have. Power is what we are, and it's up to you on how you're going to apply yours.
Yeah.
I
Well,
apply mine to the fullest to get my ideas out. I want to leave the world with a little bit more truth and beauty than I found it, and
mhm.
that's how I've decided to live my life.
Yeah, but let me ask you a question though. Can humility and power coexist? Do you think they can coexist?
Yeah, as long as the person that's humble is cool with being humble. Yeah, I mean, yeah, as long as they, yeah, I
I
mean,
mean, now there's
it's
levels. There's levels to being
yeah,
humble.
yeah, it's like, I mean, because my thing is, now I'm not like, I know when it's time for me to like shut up and stuff like that, but that doesn't mean that I'm less important or anything like that, or I'm less in value or anything like that.
Right,
I
right.
and I, it's like it is the superpower in me that knows when to do that, but that's not me ever humbling myself.
Yeah,
Like
I think sometimes people confuse being humble, with being less valuable.
exactly. Like, oh, you need to humble. Like I've had people like, you should just humble yourself. And they always trying to get me when they use it in the context of me needing to dim my light. And it's like, no, I'm a very bright human being. I'm a person that can do an infinite amount of mental push-ups to solve a problem. And just because you only can do like three mental push-ups, you're gonna have the life as a result of doing three push-ups. It's like the dude that can do 1,000 push-ups got a different chest than the dude that don't do three. It's
Oh,
just
that's
that simple.
yeah. I get that. I get that.
Yeah, it's just and that's just what this realm that we're currently in. It's all about. It's all about your mentality. It's the thinking man that captures the tiger. It's not about brute strength. It's the thinking man that does that.
All right, Sky, we're gonna give some shout outs real quick, and we're gonna take a break and come back and finish this conversation. I want to give a shout out to Sister Ree. She says, "Hello, family. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh." Sister Ree, hope you're doing well. My main man, Big Brother Bilal Salahuddin in the city of Houston, and this Queen, Sister Sonia Dalton Salahuddin. How are you doing, brother? Wa alaikum assalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Our main man. We'll make sure we give a shout out to Altaf. Altaf is out of Toronto, Canada. We call him Mr. 6 o'clock straight up, straight down. He's a Canadian envoy to the show. Had some people that are working today, but did give some shout outs. Want to also give a shout out to JT, who will be watching this thing incognito while he's at work down in Atlanta. Want to give a shout out wa alaikum assalam rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to our executive producer, Sister Satana Whitfield, and also shout out to Mama Son. Hope thank you for being on the show, and Sister Kate, and also Brother Eric Carter. Thank you guys for being on the show, and my main man Mark Kennedy will be joining us in a little bit. We're gonna take a break, Sakai. We'll be back. You adjust that pillow, don't you move. This is Rick Moss on the Shout Out Show.
Yeah, so my first, I guess, introduction to convenient urgent care, they were providing masks and supplies for people who didn't have supplies during COVID, and I went to pick them up and was going to take them around to some of the local areas, and I ran into a brother named Ijaz Saeed. And as I began to talk to Ijaz, it was very, very clear that this brother had a vision for community service. Oftentimes, when you have urgent cares in a situation that they're not necessarily doing a prevention or education. He came up with the term "a home of the smart patient," and I understand what that means. It means that people really want to be in tune about their health, but at the same time, they also want to be in tune about the people who are providing health. This is a very organic relationship. And little did I know, a year or so later, I would actually have to call on their services when I was in dealing with some physical trauma, if you will. And I have to say, they held my hand and they took me through the process. The offerings of telehealth, the offerings of being able to walk in consistent. I was in pretty bad shape, but they treated me like I was the president of the United States, not that one, Obama. Okay, I'm joking. But what I want to say is the professionalism, the dedication, the care, compassion, and the consistency, all the things I just named, makes convenient urgent care the space you want to go to. 3 locations in the Houston area: Cypress, Pasadena, and Parker Road in Houston. But I want to say the overall conceptual understanding of convenient urgent care is that they care for their patients, even when the patients don't know how to care for themselves. Check them out.
All right, we're back. So Sakai,
Sir.
let's talk about Thank You and You're Welcome. This is a book that's a joint book with the artist formerly known as Kanye West.
Yes.
I read the book, and I will say this: the design, but the imprint is you in that book, man. That's a you book, bro.
What do you mean that's a you book?
That's tons of conversations that we've had, discussions. Uh,
Uh,
there's some things in the book that are practicums, things that you were going through, you evolved. It's like I started here, now I'm here, so it's almost like revealed thought. And I won't. I'm not undercutting anything that Brother West contributed. But when I looked at the book, I was like, this is a Kaya book.
well,
I mean,
yes.
I'm watching
Well,
the interview.
first,
What is the
thank
book?
you.
This is a
And,
this is a book for non-readers. That's you.
no. See, that's equally him as
Okay.
well.
All right.
That's definitely, and put it like this: it took me writing, and this is when the universe just aligned, and that's why I say you always just got to be, when you stay ready, you never have to get ready.
Okay.
Uh, Ye had been offered a book deal, but it was a traditional book deal, and he didn't want to do it. And I showed him the concept of my book, and he was like, "Hey, this is a format that I want to do. Would you write my book with me?" And then we end up me again thinking like an entrepreneur because uh, the traditional publishers and stuff wanted, the black the black American rapper, some crack the glory story. I don't know my father, all that bullshit. And like, nah, bro. That ain't what we thinkers is. We're thinkers up in this piece. So that is, and why you hear my voice is because we wrote the book in it was extract of our conversations. And
Hmm.
that's how him and I talk. He would be, at the time, he was still on the road. And he was like, oh, I just had this thought. He'll give me a concept, and then he'll give me like an anecdote behind it, and then I'll add my 2 cents. Then now the
Okay.
thing is, for the general reader, you're not supposed to be able to tell whose voice is whose. But if you know me personally, you can be
Yeah.
like, okay, him. And if you know Ye personally, you'd be like, okay, yeah, that was Ye. But the thing was to that's the reason why the book, the title of the full title of the book is Kanye West presents Thank You and You're Welcome with Sakiya Sandifer.
Okay.
So it was like this whole merge of these two thinkers, one who's more driven to be in the spotlight than the other. That
Okay. Okay. Well, I think the thing is, the book is amazing. I mean, I love. My personal favorite is Think and Think Again.
okay. The
The
power
book.
ideas designed to spark change. That's the
Huh?
whole title. Think. Yeah, the power ideas designed to spark change.
Yeah. I mean,
And a
smash.
little quick bit, the people
It's a
who want to
masterful
go
book.
out and look it up,
Yeah.
is an artistic expression of my thought process of being inside of this irregular box. And I don't believe in thinking outside the box. I believe in creating your own. And the way that this whole design is, uh, the balance of thinking inside and outside your box, because you have to think outside of your box to create breakthroughs. So that's just a breakdown conceptually of why that cover is not just this random thing that I did.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's one of my favorite books. Um,
Did you
yeah.
buy it?
No, that's why it's one of my favorites. Wait a minute. I think I did buy one though. You gave me
uh,
a couple. And I bought one. I mean, you
okay,
signed one for me too. I still have
okay,
it.
okay.
But
All
but
right.
what I loved about the book is it's a recipe for how you understand your own process.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
And it's like, listen, if you can, and it's not a big book, people. It's it's almost
Yeah,
like a table reading. It's like, man,
yeah,
and it's just let me take these ideas and simplify them for you. So it's
absolutely.
almost like I'm going to show it to you in a book. I'm going to give you some infrastructure in the book, You're gonna have to go out at some point in time, put some meat on the bones. But this is a verified way of how I do it, and it's transferable.
Yeah, it's like a recipe book for a way of thinking. You still have to go into the kitchen and do all the cooking and get the ingredients and stuff yourself. But I'm gonna
Right.
give you an outline of a little pinch of this, a little pinch of that, and
Yeah, but don't be humble though, because it's also guess
oh, I'm
what?
not.
I designed the kitchen. So
Yeah,
you the recipe, but you designed the kitchen.
yeah, but like my thing is, I want people, like honestly, all jokes aside, I want to spark people to have them design their own kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
It's as creative in everything that I am, and much as I enjoy it, being creative, I'm it's it can become bored. I can become bored in my own creativity
We all
because I
can.
know what I'm thinking. I know that I like to go into other people's ideas,
Right.
although I might uh, tear it down mentally, but I still enjoy it.
That's right. In the racism. Let's keep it moving.
uh, it's interesting just like bringing that up, and this is like one of my pieces, and it's the same colorway. It's just certain colorways just work. I'm just putting that together.
Talk about the colorway.
The colorway of this shirt, where it's like it's the latest version of my drop. It's the all love shirt, but the thing that I like about it being creative, it depends on how you look at it. You say all love, love all, or all heart. All
Mm.
three have, well, I say two out of three ain't bad.
But say that again because I don't think people even figure that out in design. That
Huh?
they're gonna look at the design. They're gonna brand it themselves.
Yeah, they're gonna brand it themselves, but I just know it just has a very, it makes me feel good. It's like something that represents me um, really, really good. And as well as it's something that I wouldn't be like cringing my face up if I saw other people in it. It's a timeless piece. And you can't really tell the nuances. It's really an art to this because I'm already thinking about bootleggers, and it's going to take somebody with a really, really skilled hand to know how to do the nuances of once people see the like a painting, like just
Mm.
the brushstrokes and stuff that's inside the lettering and stuff.
So
It's
yeah,
definitely what you said earlier. It's definitely a don't try this at home. It's definitely that, but yet it's clean. It's clean. It's a t-shirt. Everybody loves t-shirts, and even with this, because this is the last year is when I launched assortments, and I really have gone like on the deep end of product design because I'm used to doing everything in a digital format.
yes.
It's been, man, it's been a roller coaster. Like some days I'm like I can fucking do anything, and some days I just be like, man, let me go fill out the application at FedEx. I
But
get,
I think that's a part of I think that's a part of this creative narrative, man.
yeah, I just be like,
It's like
man,
you go on stage, I'm invincible, and then you come off stage like I never want to go back up there again.
what was I thinking?
Yeah, it's like, oh God, did people just see that? That's when you walk off stage. Did you see that? They're like, yeah, we saw it.
I remember, I remember, um, I don't know if you got the gig for me. I think you might have got the gig for me. And I thought that I was going to figure out what I was going to say on my way to the venue.
Muskingum College.
Huh?
Muskingum College.
Yes. And I was just like, oh my God, I'm so glad I liked my outfit that day. Because that would have been a total waste of time, bro. I still remember my outfit though. I still remember my outfit was cold, bro. That outfit was cold. I remember. I
I think
remember.
we, but I think we've all been there. Um, we rely sometimes on, I want to say, credibility, creativity, and credibility surplus. I've done it this way, and da da da, and you get there, and people are thinking different.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Or you probably had this. You've had a title of a speech, and people came to the speech with a totally different perspective of what you're going to talk about, or
Oh
what
yeah.
they were expecting to hear. Like, I did a show one time, and it was race and critical race theory and the racism. But they had an event that they had I want to say, a crisis on campus. And so the place is packed, but they're waiting for me to talk about this crisis on campus. And I'm like, I'm speaking in very, very general platitudes. And they're like, no, we talking about these three Negroes, they got beat up down the road. And I'm like, well, then we got to talk about it. So, and it requires a pivot too. And
Oh,
what I love about the stuff that you do is you're not afraid to make the pivot, man.
I refuse to ignore new information. I absolutely refuse to ignore new information. Like that's a sure way of death to me. You 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 have to be sure in yourself, but you have to be so sure of yourself that you can lead with an open mind.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I absolutely refuse to ignore new information in any aspect of life.
I think one of the things that I see now, we're creatives. There are a lot of creatives. People have creative ideas, so we don't have a lock on anything. Man, I really see this whole culture of mediocrity. Like people
That's
did.
always been though.
No, it's
No, no,
different
no, no.
now.
Mediocrity.
No,
Like
it's different now.
history only remembers the exceptional, but there was a lot of mediocre people throughout life.
But
Don't think that
but I'm saying that there's a
throughout every time cream rises to the top, you're gonna have your people that's just outshining, and then you're gonna have some like haters and all that kind of stuff is not a new concept.
that's not a new concept. But I'm just saying that there's a culture for it now. Like people get rewarded for mediocrity. Like
But see, I disagree. I disagree vehemently with that because it's it's even though there's no longer the gatekeepers as they used to be, and like right now, we didn't have to ask permission to be on this platform, right?
100%.
So it's being more out there, but it still takes somebody that's really truly a genius and really tapped in to really make the idea and stuff really, really go. Like it still takes that. It's not it's not mediocre that wins. Now, as a creative, I can come out like my first t-shirt, I over designed it. I know I did. I over designed it. And then I came up with this simple one, and then it's just selling. So it's not, but my thing is, I don't feel like this is a mediocre t-shirt. There was some breakthroughs in it. Like when people put it on, they were like, oh, snap. How is this? Why does it feel like this? What was the process in this? Because I'm not just putting graphics on a Fruit of Loom or a Hanes t-shirt. I'm actually going to buy the fabric, getting the fabric cut, then doing garment washes and dries. And then I am doing the designing myself, but then I figure out a technique to merge silk screening and digital to make those worlds. So it's all those nuances, but yet at the end of the day, it's just a t-shirt. And mediocrity is the mass. The masses are always there. It's not like, oh man, look at all the pyramids that were built. No, there was a couple of pyramids that was built around amongst all those people that was there in that time. But somebody had the genius and the balls to say, yo, I'm going to build this. And this is going to be it. And then I'm going to exploit some people in order to do it.
But AI is giving us more pyramids now.
But even with the AI, I'm glad that you brought that up, right?
I was going to talk to you about AI because
Yeah.
I believe that AI rewards mediocrity.
But
All
you
the
know
work has
something?
been done.
But see, this is what it is. AI is going to um, AI is a valuable asset to a creative or art director who know. You still have to know what to type in to say what you want, and you still got to have a sensibility and a taste sensibility to know if that's hot. I look at it as AI gives me a room full of designers that I can say, "Hey, draw me a monkey on eating a burrito on a Harley Davidson." Right? I could. It takes me to say that, and then AI. And if I had like let's say Disney had 20 animators, right? But he
Mhm.
still had them fine tune it to his vision. It was only one Disney, and it had these seeds. So now with Disney, with a mind like a Disney, or let me put myself a mind like myself, I can go in and I'm like, it's hard. I mean, it's not hard, but it's not just easy to come up with an idea. It's not that easy. But like, let's go back to what we were saying. Allah made me funny, right?
Well, that was
It,
concept development. AI
but
can't AI can't necessarily it can't replicate concept development. Like when you're
absolutely.
talking about a shirt, it can come with a design, and it can come up with a design with a heart, all heart, uh, all love, all of that. But AI is not going to come up with it because this is not something that is I
Yeah,
want
they're not gonna have another
transmutable thought.
emotion.
It's not a transmutable thought.
Right. So with that said, AI is going to allow AI is going to allow people who have like taste to rise to the top. Because one, they're not gonna have to deal with people. They're gonna be able to just deal with themselves and they saying, hey, this is it. And then but they still require some manipulation. It's like it's like when people thought, well, not thought, music changed through the digital technology. You didn't need to have an actual drummer in the section. You didn't need to have a horn player, right? But it wasn't still as if you could just sit down to this you know MPC player and stuff like that, and it's just gonna make a hit. You still have to know how to use that instrument to connect with the masses. You still have to use that, and I just think of it as just a new tool. At one time, they was painting with feathers and dyes made from feathers. I mean, from flowers. At one time, that was it. They weren't even feathers. They was using their hands and probably like dirt, mud, clay. And then it was like it just changed. Somebody came up with a better way. I don't know who this is.
Well, let me ask you this question. You've been in several things. I know you. One of your goals is you want to get into product design for boutique hotels.
Yes, that's going to be my legacy. That's what I'm looking to complete before I leave this planet. That's what I'm going to complete before I leave this planet.
So, what's going to be the rubric for a Sakiya collection of hotels?
Okay, you're going to have to use words that that normal people use.
Okay, let me say it again. What's the rubric for? I look at a Sakiya hotel. What are the things that let me know that this is on the level of what he does? What are the checkpoints I'm going to see?
One,
I
first,
walk in. What
first and
I want to
foremost,
know
it's
is
going
your
to affect
thing.
you emotionally. First, it's going to affect you emotionally, and it's going to calm you. It's going to calm you with the color palette, the shapes, the smells, and the sounds. The best way to describe it is if you took uh, somebody with modern hip hop influence, that a hybrid of modern hip hop influence um, with a wabi sabi type of aesthetic. It's like you're gonna immediately, it's like clean. Like even the piece that's behind me, you can't see the whole thing, but that piece is called Minimum, and it's the most dynamic piece that's in my space. I'm like, I guess, but yeah, it's going to be transformational. You're just going to walk in, just like how you can walk into a Ralph Lauren world and you just know that's Ralph. You're gonna like certain colors. Ralph has certain colors. He has certain textures. He loves him some cherry wood. He's that classic Americana. Mine is relaxed. You're just gonna. The only con to my products and spaces is that it makes you hate your own initially, but then it should inspire you to say, "Oh wow, this is possible."
Okay, can you explain that one? I kind of like that.
Well, with somebody,
It kind of makes you hate your own space. Like,
yeah.
I got to do
Well,
better.
you don't recognize a room stinks until you walk out of it, smell some good air, then go back into that. You're like, oh shit, this room. Like, wait a minute, I don't have to live like this because every the powers that be have convinced people that taste has a. I'm sorry, I just realized that my phone is broken. The powers that be have convinced people that taste has a cost to it, and that's one of the things that I'm even doing with my brand assortments. That I'm going to use the same fabrics of RL, Lululemon, and Prada, but it's offensive to sell somebody a $1,200 like windbreaker. That's just it's just offensive, and this is me designing for the 12-year-old version of me growing up on the south side of Chicago that was having the time of his life doing gymnastics on a pissy mattress, but still thinking, this is a freaking pissy mattress. Why are we doing this on this pissy mattress in the alley? Like, boom. It's like, no, like that right there does not, that's why I said earlier, I want to leave the world with a little bit more truth and beauty. Like, design is for everybody. Design is healing. We can actually heal the world through design. We don't
So,
have.
like, would you say like your design, your palettes, your tones, the calibrations that you have with the hotels you want to work with, also with your clothing, it's it gives us an emotive experience.
Oh, absolutely.
Like
If
you
I don't
walk in and go,
exactly, if what I create doesn't affect you emotionally, I haven't done shit. I'm going for that feeling. I'm not going and I'm going for a feeling. That's what I'm transferring to everything I'm doing is how I feel. I'm projecting. It's a transfer of energy. So when you put it on, you're like, oh, I get it now. I get it. And then you're gonna realize how much you've been manipulated with that Fruit of the Loom. It actually brings your spirits down. It's the same concept of a visitor's locker room in a stadium. They purposely put ugly colors and ugly designs in there to lower your vibration. And then the home visit thing is always plush. It's the reason why prisons they lower your vibration by design. By design, they lower your vibrations. They lower your vibrations by being in the hood, and that a certain behavior is tolerated by the aesthetic. Because hey, if you go to a nice place, you automatically straighten up. You automatically be like, oh, wait a minute. That's why most religious settings are, the word I want to use is like godly. It's a design. It makes you go in and it lifts your spirits just by coming into the space.
yeah, no,
And
I
and
would
I'm
actually, I
that
would,
doesn't
I would
have
agree
a
with
cost
that.
to it. And that doesn't necessarily have a cost to it. You know, like,
I used to feel that way about graffiti. Um, not just the people scribbling stuff, but people that actually put up art.
yeah,
Uh, like we go to Ben's Chili Bowl in D.C. You see the side of it. It's got Chuck Brown and Prince and Chappelle, and people have taken the time. Like this is amazing. Like people stop, and
right.
this is way before it got gentrified. But I'm like, yo, this is a thing that holds your imagination, and if you stay there long enough, you start veering into the power of possibility.
Yeah, and that is what a good design does. A good design opens your mind. Like a good design, and it's going to spark the next mind. And it's just like, because all we're doing is just changing of ideas. And
Well,
I'm
I
all
think
about.
it's almost like, okay, let me help you shape your narrative. Here's a picture. Like
Well,
I know what it looks like to me. I know what I did, but when I put it out in the universe, people develop relationships with the logo. People develop relationships with clothes. I mean, it's proven.
yeah, yeah. What makes something what it is what we compared it to, and
Hmm.
that's no one is beyond that. That's what makes something what it is what you're comparing it to. And if all you've been given is sugar water, you don't understand the deliciousness of just eating a watermelon. One of
Hmm.
the best things that you could just eat. I mean, and it's plentiful. It's like it's so many things that's the power to be. All and when I say the powers to be, it's just somebody with a business agenda. I mean, it's like
Okay.
breakfast. The American breakfast is a man-made concept by Edward Bernays. I think it's his name, Edward Bernays, just to sell more bacon. You know what I mean? It's like
Right. Right.
listen to your body, bro. Listen to your body. And then you're eating dessert, eating majority of the dessert for breakfast, which is just a sugar spike. And then you wonder why you crash. And then it's somebody else that's like, something. I think it was Jerry Seinfeld had a great joke about a 5 hour energy drink. And it's like, you only need 5 hours? But it's just the way that the system is. And if you get out of the matrix a little bit and really tap into yourself, man, and realize just the power that you have. Going back to what we said, and the power that you have to create your own reality. And for me, it's the most freeing thing that I know to do here in this current realm that we in.
Well, I love the fact that when we talk about all these things, make sure you give us the website for the clothing, please.
Uh,
Um,
I wish I had a sign.
if you put it up, Sister Satan is pretty quick, and she can put it up for us. It's
Uh, Go ahead.
Go ahead, spell it out.
Oh, it's X as in X-ray, SSORTMENTS.com. So that's assortments.com.
What I like, when we talk about these things from going back to graphics way back when, is the fact that even when you put out a design, and we talked about this going back to like I want to say '96, is the fact that every time you put out a design, you are realigning your power. I
Yeah,
am reaffirming my power because it's over here, and eventually the universe connects the dots. But I think the
yeah.
thing overall, which I really appreciate, is that you do leave, whether we want to or not, we do leave breadcrumbs for folks to say, "Hey, you can do this."
Oh, that's why I say that I'm just a spark. Absolutely. And I spent the first, I'm gonna say, 33 years of my life trying to ignite water. And then I was just like, nah, because what happens to a spark once it hits water, it just goes out. So I'm left so depleted. And then I realized, no, let me just focus on being a spark. And even if that person has dormant gasoline in them, it's just going to ignite. And I realized literally the realm that we live in, the majority of this planet is not flammable. The majority of it is not. So how the arrogance of me is saying I'm going to ignite the world. No, you're not, bro. No, you're not. No. That's not going to happen. So
It's not gonna happen.
what I need to do is just always stay true to myself. I'm gonna be. It's like I know the power of words. I know the power of ideas. One of my favorite things I've ever written is think it, say it, do it. You can't say what you can't think, and you can't do what you don't say. It's like you have to have all those things aligned. When you say what you think and then you do what you say, I guarantee you are living a happy life, not necessarily a successful life. Because success is getting what you want, happiness is wanting what you get. It's a really big difference. I know a lot of unhappy, successful people. I know a lot.
It's a guy. We're gonna wrap, man. I just want to say a couple just quick things. First of all, first and foremost, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
That's number one. Number two, man, is I just appreciate you as a creative.
Likewise.
We go back and forth. We have fun. But the good nature of it is, there's a brotherhood and there's a camaraderie in the fact that we want a lot of the same things. And you coming on the Shout Out Show, we're going to do some big things in the future, inshallah, Allah willing. But man, keep that spark till we bring you back. Keep that spark till you bring me back, man. On behalf of myself and everybody on the show, thank you so much.
All right, you're welcome. And I'm a little disappointed that I didn't get the mean preach that you go on stage with. I really was coming here for that guy.
We'll get to that.
Man, this ain't stand-up comedy. This is stay-up comedy.
Oh yeah. Well, believe me, I had that last week. All right, beloved. Thank you so much for coming on the show, man. And peace and blessings to you and your wife. As always, much appreciated.
Likewise.
Take care. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Everybody, that's our show with my main man, Sakiya Sandifer. I hope you get a chance to watch this over and kind of go through some of the things that he's been talking about. He dropped some gems. I'm not going to take up any more time. We're over. But I hope you don't mind us being over because I just didn't want to cut my man off when he was just dropping that information. Peace and blessings to you and your family. Shout out to Sister Satana for working the back and being so patient. Keep an eye on the ground, eye on the prize for us in terms of ISNA. We'll be talking about that the next show. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. See you next week.